They called him Kamel Amin Thaabet, a charming Syrian businessman, fluent in politics, fluent in money, fluent in secrets. But in Tel Aviv, his real name was whispered differently: Eli Cohen, Israel's invisible weapon. Before he became the most feared spy in the Middle East, Eli Cohen was an ordinary accountant, born in Alexandria, Egypt in 1924. He grew up in a Jewish family that faced constant suspicion from Egyptian authorities. By the 1950s, after the establishment of Israel, Jews across the Arab world were branded potential traitors. Cohen was interrogated, humiliated, and watched. Yet even then, his calm under pressure caught the attention of Israeli intelligence officers. When he finally emigrated to Israel in 1957, Mossad had already marked his file: potential agent, exceptional memory, disciplined ego, perfect Arabic accent. He lived a quiet married life in Bat Yam, working for the Ministry of Defense until 1960, when Mossad came knocking. They wanted a man who could vanish inside enemy territory, someone who could think like an Arab, talk like a politician, and act like he belonged in Damascus. Cohen didn't hesitate. His country needed him. He trained under the Mossad's Department of Tzomet, the Human Sources branch. The syllabus was brutal: tradecraft, surveillance, safe house management, counter-interrogation, even how to stage an argument convincingly. Within months, he could switch dialects mid-sentence, Egyptian to Syrian to Lebanese, as if he'd lived in each country. Mossad built him a full identity: Kamel Amin Thaabet, a wealthy expatriate Syrian who had lived in Argentina and wanted to return home to invest in his country. Fake letters, family photographs, business records, all flawless. In 1961, Kamel moved to Buenos Aires and began weaving the social web that would one day reach the heart of Syrian power. He hosted lavish parties, funded charities, and befriended Syrian diplomats posted in South America. His charm worked like gravity. The more people he met, the more they orbited him. One of those friends was Colonel Amin al-Hafiz, a future Syrian president. By 1962, Cohen had built enough credibility for the next step. He left Argentina and returned home, to Damascus. It was like entering the lion's den wearing a smile. In Damascus, Kamel rented a villa in an upscale neighborhood close to the military headquarters. His timing was perfect. The Ba'ath Party had just seized power. Chaos ruled the streets, coups were whispered daily, and every ambitious officer sought allies. Cohen offered money, influence, and entertainment. His parties became legend, lavish evenings where colonels drank and spoke too freely. Cohen didn't take notes. He memorized everything. Every conversation was an intelligence goldmine. Which brigades were moving, which units were underpaid, which generals despised one another. Within months, Cohen knew more about Syria's internal politics than many in its own government. Mossad gave him a miniature radio transmitter hidden inside a piece of furniture. From his living room, he sent nightly coded bursts back to Tel Aviv. The information transformed Israeli intelligence mapping: borders, fortifications, troop morale, even the exact coordinates of artillery posts on the Golan Heights. He wasn't just sending data. He was reshaping Israel's understanding of its enemy. When Syrian officers discussed new fortifications on the Golan, Cohen joined the conversation. He suggested planting trees near each bunker for shade. Years later, during the 1967 Six-Day War, those trees served as targets for Israeli pilots. Every tree marked a gun position. That single idea saved countless Israeli lives. Cohen's access grew. He toured frontline bases, photographed maps, and reported military secrets as if reading a dinner menu. He was invited to observe military exercises, given rank as a defense consultant, and even discussed national strategy with high-ranking officials, including his old friend Amin al-Hafiz, who by 1963 had become president of Syria. In Tel Aviv, analysts couldn't believe it. A single agent was feeding them the pulse of an entire regime. He had become a one-man embassy inside enemy command. But success breeds exposure. By 1964, Soviet advisors were installing new counter-espionage systems in Damascus. The Syrians had discovered unexplained radio transmissions leaving the capital at night. The net was tightening. Cohen's Mossad handlers ordered him to slow communication. He ignored the warning. Too much was happening. Troop deployments, political purges, fresh opportunities. He transmitted again. January 1965. The Syrian intelligence service, with Soviet technical help, triangulated the source of a signal to Cohen's neighborhood. They cut electricity across the district to isolate the signal. When it resumed, they stormed his villa. Cohen was caught mid-transmission, headphones still on. He was arrested, beaten, and interrogated for months. Even under torture, he refused to admit his true identity, repeating the same line. He was a businessman, innocent of politics. But the evidence was overwhelming. Codes, transmitters, letters, and maps. When he finally broke, he didn't beg for mercy. He asked for one thing: to write a letter to his wife Nadia. That letter still breaks hearts in Israel today. Eli Cohen's capture sent shockwaves through Israel. In Tel Aviv, Mossad operatives watched helplessly as Damascus began publicizing the foreign spy who infiltrated the government. Syria wanted to humiliate Israel the same way Black September had done in Munich, by showing that even Mossad could bleed. The trial was swift, brutal, and purely for spectacle. Syrian newspapers published every accusation. Radio broadcasts called him the Israeli devil hiding in plain sight. Behind the courtroom, Soviet officers observed every interrogation, studying Mossad's methods through the mistakes of its greatest agent. Cohen was sentenced to death. The date was set for May 18, 1965. Israel pleaded for clemency. Pope Paul VI, the French government, and even the UN Secretary General sent appeals to spare his life. But Syria refused. They wanted to send a message to Israel and to every Arab officer who might be tempted by money or ideology to turn traitor. In his final letter, Eli Cohen wrote to his wife, "My darling Nadia, I beg you not to spend your life in weeping for what has passed. Look after yourself and our children. Live in peace. I died for my country. I have only done what every man is duty-bound to do for his nation." At dawn, he was led to Marjah Square in Damascus. Crowds gathered. Loudspeakers broadcast the sentence in Arabic and French. Cohen's hands were bound. He was calm. When the executioner placed the rope around his neck, he looked toward the horizon and whispered the Shema, Israel's oldest prayer. The trapdoor opened. His body hung for hours as a warning to anyone who might follow in his footsteps. Israel mourned not just a man but an idea, that courage, intellect, and faith could pierce even the thickest walls of hostility. Eli Cohen was buried in Syria. His body never returned. Every Israeli government since has demanded his remains, but Damascus still refuses. His grave remains unmarked, guarded by time and silence. Yet even in death, his work continued to save lives. The intelligence Cohen sent before his capture was so detailed that, 2 years later, when the Six-Day War began, Israel knew exactly where every Syrian fortification stood. His reports guided artillery, armor, and airstrikes that dismantled the Syrian defense in just 48 hours. Pilots said they could navigate the Golan Heights by Eli's map. It was as if the ghost of one man was still commanding reconnaissance from beyond the border. His transmissions also exposed Soviet involvement at every level: the advisors training Syrian gunners, the communications links between Damascus and Moscow, and the chain of command controlling regional militias. This data reshaped Israeli and Western understanding of the entire Soviet intelligence network in the Middle East. Even CIA analysts admitted later, Eli Cohen's reports were as valuable as an entire embassy's output. In Mossad headquarters, Cohen's codename was retired. His file was marked completed with honor. But inside the agency, his legend became doctrine. Every recruit studies his life, not just his brilliance, but his fatal flaw: overexposure. The lesson is simple. Even the best spy can only stay invisible for so long. Mossad built memorials and training courses around his methods. His tradecraft, blending hospitality with observation, persuasion with patience, became the foundation for Israel's human intelligence operations. They called it the Cohen Principle. Win trust faster than suspicion can form. Meanwhile, the Arab world learned a different lesson, that Israeli agents could be anywhere, even among their leaders. For years after his death, Syrian generals refused to host private meetings, paranoid that a new Kamel Thaabet might be in the room. The entire structure of Syrian counterintelligence was redesigned because of one man. Even decades later, fragments of his legacy still surface. In 2019, a retired Syrian official admitted that some of Cohen's intelligence remains classified even within their archives, because revealing it would expose how deeply he penetrated the regime. His coded reports, smuggled out through Mossad channels, remain among the most valuable documents in Israel's intelligence history. But beyond the files and operations, Eli Cohen's story endures because it asks a timeless question. How much can one person sacrifice for his country that can never acknowledge him publicly? He didn't die rich. He didn't die famous. He died anonymous, a name erased from Damascus records, a ghost without a grave. But his influence still defines how nations wage shadow wars. After his death, Mossad changed its operational doctrine. No single agent would ever again be allowed such deep infiltration without extraction protocols. Safe house frequency, communication schedules, and counter-tracking measures were rewritten. In a way, Eli Cohen's death rebuilt Mossad itself. He became a symbol of what intelligence truly costs. Not gadgets, not guns, but human lives, burned in silence. Mossad agents still say a quiet prayer before missions. For Eli, it's not a ritual, it's a reminder. Because intelligence work is never glamorous. It's long nights pretending to be someone else. It's smiling at men you plan to betray. It's watching your family grow through photographs. And sometimes, it's dying with a secret that saves millions who will never know your name. Eli Cohen proved that one man can bend history without ever appearing in it. The trees he suggested on the Golan Heights still stand, silent memorials marking artillery positions that no longer exist. And every time Israeli pilots fly over them, they fly over the legacy of a man who once pretended to be the enemy, to protect his own. Today, Cohen is remembered not just as Mossad's greatest spy, but as one of the finest operatives in intelligence history. A man whose courage redrew borders and whose sacrifice taught the world the price of knowledge. Eli Cohen lived as Kamel Amin Thaabet. He died as a traitor in Damascus. But history remembers him as something far greater, a man who turned deception into devotion, and whose silence spoke louder than any broadcast. If this story moved you, hit like and share it, because history's greatest spies don't live in novels. They live in shadows. And if you want to know how Mossad used his intelligence to win the Six-Day War, subscribe, because that story is coming next. This is Brinkwell. See you in the next one.